Good morning. I am hopping on here because we've been through gentle and classical preschool once, but then by the time you're done, you've taken everything down and you're getting ready for the next thing and your mind's on primer or whatever else you're going to do, and you don't really sit and reflect on preschool. Well, my second child is in preschool now. So now that we've been through it once, I wanted to do a quick rundown of how we set up our preschool with gentle and classical preschool to work for our family, and to maybe give you guys some ideas on how to get things organized or whatever for yourselves. So most of you, if you've watched any of my videos, know I have these bookshelves that I got. My friend recommended them. I was very thankful for the recommendation. They are perfect. But we're gonna start over here with our memory statement board. We aren't big in the memory statements. I don't make them actually memorize them. I use them as talk points more than we're going to memorize this. It makes me feel safe to hold blank's hand. We're gonna talk about what, who we should trust and things like that. And who is a trusted adult in our family. So that's something we do there. This is just a reminder of the colors we're focusing on for me throughout the week. We don't use the catechism because we've already been through them with my first daughter and we review them ongoing. So my current preschooler already has a general gist of them and will continue to hear them. We do use the patient songs and we'll review those. We pick out our own Bible verse that goes with our Sunday school program at church. We put the Mother Goose cards up here because then I don't have to pull out a book. I also if you are buying these cards, you do not need to get this complete Mother Goose nursery rhymes. They're already printed on the cards. Here's the letter of the week, and then another talking point all about me, statements that my child may or may not know yet, and on the beginning are generally good safety ones to have. So I have kind of pulled a few things out to show you. We get these folders that go into binders and kind of Velcro down. These are what we store our morning binder in, but I also found them extremely helpful for storing our, my gentle and classical activities, the things that are in the appendix that you cut out and use later. I store these all in a folder because I can just pull that folder out and we can use those for the crafts when we need them. I also store my preschool math at home, and I kind of make a little kit outside of our manipulatives are in here. So in here we have our pennies to do our store with. We have the blue fish and the yellow fish. I have some random number cards. Here are the little cards that she recommends for like playing cards, but you don't use them that way. And then I have, like I said, random number cards. I have all the things that we would cut out and use one time. So like the dot sheets, how many dots are on each sheet, all the little stuff that you kind of create as you go through the year. Unless I'm going to have my kiddo create it again, I stick it in here. And then even like these pages for the little fish, we laminated those and then I stick them in here too. And so all my little stuff is in one place. All I have to do is grab it, and then the week before I'll take out what I need. I don't have to go hunting everywhere because it's in a little baggie or in here somewhere, and I know it is. So that's what I do with my preschool math at home. I do think that this is on the young side. Like my 2-year-old generally will know most of the stuff, but my 3-year-old will enjoy the games and she will enjoy playing these things. And so we do kind of go through it just real quick and then we'll move over to kindergarten math with confidence with her. And then the other thing I have is my math basket, and I have my little manipulative cube things in here. I have these Unifix cubes, and they're split by color, and each stack is 10. So that's what we use for like the morning binder set of 10 versus singles. And then we have some pattern blocks, and in amongst with our pattern blocks, I also have some patterns that they can do. These ones are harder because there's not like it telling you which ones to put where, versus these ones are a little easier. Anyways, so those are all in this little basket that I keep on my youngest one's shelf. I also found these Wonder Sticks, which I like for her writing on the dry erase sheets. So that's in our area over here. The other things for writing that we have are these little sand trays with the letters and some sand in a little container. The sand does get like everywhere. So we try and be pretty careful about when they get to use this, and mommy's supervision level is up. You could also use the kinetic sand. I just have like, there's a lot more hard time drawing in the kinetic sand. We also got these things at Target one time. They are like, they snap together so you can make the shapes of the letters, build your letters that way. So we do use those things for our handwriting. Another thing we use for like alongside the math and with our morning binder and stuff is these. They are just little numbers, and then they can put these pegs in them. See? And so there's one, and they can see the one, then you can take them apart and have them match them. There's different ways you can use these. You can also use these just to have them trace the number. So I like these for that kind of stuff. We also have our little container of Play-Doh for building our letters on the dry erase board. Okay, and our dry erase board, we use these dry erase sleeves instead of the menus, because we can do 1 page or 2 pages or however many pages I want to do. Obviously you could do the same and just not put as many in the menu, but I like that these lie perfectly flat. They can do whatever they need to on top of them, and then we can put them away. So that is what I chose to go with instead of a morning menu, which is typically suggested with the program. Also up here, I have my teacher guide and the activity guide. In the activity guide, I look ahead and get a supply list for all of the crafts on the front end. I didn't need to do this as much this time because we still have extras from the first time we did this of a lot of this stuff. But it is good to just run through in the front of your book. They have craft supplies by unit. And so run through and make one giant list of all of the things you might need, because it's easier to have it now and know that you have it on hand than to wait and not have it. Because if you wait and you don't have it, you most likely will not do the craft. Ask me how I learned that last year or 2 years ago. So that's one thing I do with this. The other thing I do with this is I think about, it takes about a week for my library to get books in. So I order books on our little app on a Sunday. So I need to be ordering the next week's books on Sunday, not that week's books, obviously. And we go and pick them up on Wednesdays. So I need to be thinking ahead enough to order them early. So that's another thing I do with this, is make sure that I have ordered all of our books and that we have all of our supplies for the crafts. I do keep my cards just here on the shelf. They are not organized by unit. Some people will organize them in like a folder by unit. I don't. I just take my stack over to my board. I put the old one away. I grab the new one out and I put that one up and we move on. So that's easy enough. The other thing is I made this little tray for my kiddo. So she's got glue, a glue stick, a marker, crayons, scissors, and an eraser in her little tray. That's general gist of crafty stuff that she'll need for basic crafts. The last, two more things. So we use the Good and the Beautiful for our handwriting. So you had seen how I have some of that stuff that we'll do for the specific letter, but I also alongside of that will allow her to trace these things. You can see it's not actually forming the actual letter, but it's starting to put some of the shapes that go with it. This is Doodles and Pre-Writing for Littles, part 1. And so she's got a part 1 and a part 2. And so we work our way through those. And so you can see how they're starting to form their shapes. And now I can do this with, usually I use a crayon just because it's better for their grip and whatnot. And so I can pull out the letter that we're doing that week, or we can just go in order. I'm probably just going to go in order that she made it just because it's easier than trying to sort through and find out which letter and whatnot. But for like the sand tray, the building with the things, and the Play-Doh, we'll do the letter of the week for those. And that's more just learning different shapes and having fun coloring while sister does her handwriting. So that's why we do that. And then the last thing we do is we use the Delightful Reading Kits. I love them. I highly recommend them, but they are a little expensive. So if you're not wanting to do Delightful Reading Kits, I would look into Amy Tuttle's Discover Reading. I've heard great things about it. That's another Charlotte Mason program. So I would be inclined to check that one out. And it's very inexpensive. So, but for our reading program, I have these letters here. They're the magnet letters that you can put on the whiteboard so that we can build our words. We have our words that come with the kit in here. And I pulled out the first couple weeks worth of these, and then I'll trade them out when we get done with this section. And so these are like the different activities that we do, and they're all like fun-based word building. And then this is her Words I Can Build book that we go through with it. The last thing I have is her shelf for her books is right here. And so we have all sorts of books in here that are obviously not in the program, but we also put some of our program ones on here. So I put our letter books for the week over there on her little shelf so that she can pick those up and read them at any time, that we're not doing all the extra books during school time per se. But I have like the My Body book. We have the Me and My Amazing Body. We do our own Bible book. So we use Catherine Voss's The Child's Story Bible for that. We use like Eloise Wilkins' Poems for Littles. We use lots of Mother Goose, different variety of Mother Goose that we read. We have Fables, the Maple Hill Farm books, Chimney Corner Stories are on here. James Harriet's Treasury for Children. These are all great books that we just read randomly throughout the year as well. And then the My Book House series, we've been working our way through In the Nursery. You can see we're almost done with that one. We started it last year. So after we are done with that, we will move over to the story time one for that. I also have a child's book of art on here, as well as a first atlas, just trying to really think about the feast and some ways to involve little kids into the fun of our world and art and the beauty that's around us. So that's where a lot of this extra stuff comes in, is just building out the curriculum a little bit. One last thing. We did do Gentle and Classical Nature last year. And so with that came these animal cards. And so we have a little basket that has these animal cards on that they can look through, and not necessarily just to memorize, but to look at and enjoy and, you know, play with and see and look at more closely, see the detail of the animals and stuff like that. So we love those for them to do that kind of stuff. So that's everything, which seems like a lot. But once you put it all together, it does generally kind of meld, and it's a very loose program where, you know, we might do this piece this day and we might do that piece this day and we might focus more heavily on this. And so we just take our time walking through. It's 26 units. Yep, 26 units. But you have a year to do it, right? And so like most curriculums, like a 36-week curriculum. So you have an extra 10 weeks to kind of float it around. And so don't be in a rush with GC Preschool. Take your time. That's the point. It's supposed to be a time of exploring, hands-on creating, and a lot of one-on-one time with your littles. So have a great school year, and I will talk to you later. Bye.